My name's Bruce Music, and whether or not you're in a relationship, the next 15 minutes are going to be important for you because you're about to learn secrets that most smart people never learn about what it takes to make romantic relationships really work. We're going to take a look at why you've attracted your romantic partner, and if you're single right now, why you've attracted the romantic partners you have in the past, and it's not what you think it's going to be. We're also going to take a look at the 5 stages that your romantic relationship is going to need to go through if you want to create long-term connection, stability, security, and love. And we're also going to look at which stage you're most likely to get stuck at and what to do if you do. And then finally, we're going to take a look at what to do once the blissful feelings of falling in love begin to fade, as they so often do in long-term romantic relationships. So if you and I haven't met before, I'm Bruce, and I'm originally from South Africa, currently living in the Caribbean, hence the palm trees behind me. And I'm really passionate about helping smart people like you build unbreakable bonds with your romantic partner and helping you experience all the joy, the connection, the intimacy, and the freedom that a romantic relationship that works has to offer without settling, without compromising, and without losing yourself in the process. So follow me inside and let's get going. If you're anything like me, then your relationship probably started out as a series of magical moments with your heart pounding and your spirit soaring and your stomach doing flip-flops just at the thought of seeing him or her, right? You felt so loved and you felt so wanted and appreciated and needed, right? And you were joined at the hip. And then one day, a terrible thing began to happen. That feeling of falling in love began to fade away. And you started to realize just how different you were from your partner, and perhaps how much of yourself you'd sacrificed in order to be in the relationship with your partner. And now the little things that you used to love about your partner begin to annoy you. And before you know it, you're arguing about the dumbest things. And you've entered what we call the power struggle stage. And what do we do when we enter the power struggle stage? Well, in order to get our needs met, and in order to have that feeling of being in love again, we figure we better go about changing our partner to be more like they used to be and to be more like us, right? Does this sound familiar? If you've ever tried to change anybody before, you've probably noticed that it never works. So both you and your partner are equally trying to change each other during this power struggle stage. And before you know it, the relationship that was once the safe haven of love now becomes this place that's full of uncertainty and where you feel like you have to walk on eggshells around your partner and where you don't feel accepted just for being the person that you are. And when this happens, we begin to feel disconnected. And once we begin to feel disconnected, we usually do one of 2 things. We either become needy and try and reconnect with our partner, or we become shut down and need space and want to withdraw. Does any of this sound familiar? Am I close? Well, if you can relate to anything I've just shared, I've got 2 things I want to say to you. One is you're normal and it's not your fault. Every relationship goes through this power struggle stage when you leave the romance stage on the way to further stability. You can't go around it. There's only one way, and that's through it. And 2, there's hope. Paradoxically, in order to learn to love, you need to fall out of love first. And this is just a natural stage you're going through. And if you educate yourself about how to get through the power struggle stage, on the other side is a deeper, more mature opportunity for romance, intimacy, and connection that's way beyond anything you could have experienced back here in the romance stage. So how is it that we can go from, on one hand, being head over heels in love with our partner, to, on the other hand, feeling like our partner's causing us pain in the relationship? One reason could be that relationships go through 5 predictable stages, as identified by Dr. Susan Campbell in her study of hundreds of couples. And the first stage is called the romance stage. When we fall in love with the single most incompatible person for us in the universe, the person most capable of causing us the most pain and least capable of meeting our primary human needs. Why? It turns out that we human beings are no different from anything else in nature. We're either growing or we're dying. And of course, nature wants us to grow. So nature makes us fall in love with the most incompatible person in the universe, the person most able and capable of making our worst nightmares come true. Why? because that person is going to be the most capable of pushing our buttons and forcing us to grow and expand in our lives. So they're the perfect person to ensure our growth. But if we knew this person was the most incompatible person in the universe for us, we would run as fast as possible for the hills, right? So, nature drugs us. Yep, that's the only way we could possibly fall in love with the most incompatible person in the universe. Your brain releases a series of chemicals like phenethylamine and oxytocin and dopamine that have you fall in love, so you can only see your partner through rose-tinted glasses. You only focus in the romance stage on how you and your partner are the same, and you ignore your differences. You'll do anything to please your partner and have them like you, because you're high on drugs. If you weren't, you'd run a mile, right? What happens is that this drug-induced high lasts for anywhere between 2 months and 2 years, and probably on average 4 to 6 months, before it begins to wear off. And when it begins to wear off, you have what I like to call a love hangover. And you wake up in bed with the most incompatible person in the universe, and you go, ah! And the power struggle stage begins.